few people to jump on here, but I had so much fun with the last live stream that I did of just sitting at the sewing machine that I'm like, I want to do more of these. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to pack my bag, but I want to wait for some folks to get on here and then we'll start answering questions and see what things you guys come up with. Nobody's on here yet. Good stuff. It's a beautiful day, nice spring day. I'm in my garage and I've just created like a whole new workspace for me for all of my bags that I'm creating and that side of my business. But we got some folks on here now. I'm gonna have to get pretty close because I'm not wearing my glasses and see the comments from you guys. Okay, so here's the plan for this video. Also, I've got a lapel mic on. If you can't hear me, let me know. But the plan today is I'm going on a desert backpacking trip here soon. We're gonna pack my backpack live with you guys watching. I want you to ask questions. I want you to just maybe throw out some suggestions or ideas that you have, and we're gonna do that. Okay. Pack a ribeye steak and cook it out there. Man, I would love to be able to do that, but that's not gonna happen on this trip. Okay, let's talk about the backpack that I bought last week that I was pretty interested in. This is the Gossamer Gear Scala 38. This is a frameless backpack, and I have not carried a frameless pack in quite some time. So I would say it's probably been maybe 5 years. Well, that's not true. Last year I did a trip with the Outdoor Vitals Skyline backpack, but I'm doing a route in Capitol Reef National Park, and I want to go as lightweight as possible, and it's also kind of a redemption hike of sorts. Back in October, let me just see what kind of questions are there. How do I like my steak? Medium rare all the way. Using the REI half dome I bought this weekend to get 3. Oh, awesome. Nice. Have you tried those Arn backpacks? No. I would love to. I would love to try one of those packs though, but we're gonna go with this one. So this is a bit of a redemption hike for me. Back in October last year, I did go number 2 on the Beehive Traverse in Capitol Reef National Park. And if you saw the video, we had to bail because my friend Will got injured. He, coming down one of the steep cliff faces, he fell forward, smacked his face on the rock, his sunglasses cut his eyebrow open, and it just resulted in having to call it quits for that trip, like a day and a morning into the trip. So I'm headed back to do that route with Brigham from Outdoor Vitals, who's the lead designer of Outdoor Vitals. Okay, what we're gonna do is pack the backpack. I got all of my gear here. Ask questions as you have them, but this is the Gossamer Gear Scala 38. It's a frameless pack. I just bought this like it showed up on Monday. So it's got a removable hip belt, which I think I am going to use to just take some of the weight off of my shoulders. And it's a roll top design. It's got the nice ultra stretch mesh for the back pocket, as well as on the shoulder straps. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've already packed this a little bit to kind of get an idea of how it was working out. And the side pockets are pretty tight, but I think it's gonna work out either way. Then we'll go through sleep system here in a second. I use a Kumo and love it. They're great for ultralight and fast packing. I almost went with that Kumo fast packing pack. It was kind of a tie, but this being a brand new option, I was pretty intrigued by that. Redemption hikes always feel amazing. I hope that's the case. Is a compression sack necessary? Yeah, it will be necessary. That's when I got my sleeping gear in. I was looking into that pack, but I saw no load lifters. Correct. There are no load lifters on the pack. I don't know that because it's frameless, it's going to be completely necessary. Now, the idea is to not overload this with too much gear. I'm aiming to be under 25 pounds. I think my base weight of what I have here is roughly 14 pounds before I add some camera gear. And I'm also trying to go pretty minimalist on my camera setup. I got a Kakwa instead. I still have not tried the Kakwa. I don't know. I just have not tried it yet. Forecast-wise, how cold do you have to prepare for? Good question. Looking at the forecast, it is going to be like high 60s, low 70s during the day, partly cloudy, and low 40s at night with a potential for a little bit of rain. So what I don't have on the table is actually a rain jacket because the forecast changed enough that that's going to be different. Let's see. I'd love to see your new larger food bag fully packed out and how much it holds. That's a great question because right here I've got my 4.5 liter standard size food bag filled with all of my food for the trip. This is the Mesa bag. If you stick around long enough, we're just gonna enjoy however long this takes. But if you stick around long enough, I've got one over here that I can load up with stuff. But I've been able to get 8 freeze-dried meal bags into that larger bag. So this is 4.5 liters. The XL is 6.5 liters. So I just don't have like everything prepped for this live stream to do that. Don't let Dan and his friends hear you haven't tried the Kakwa. Well, here's the thing. I did just buy an X-Mid 1 that I may be taking on the Uinta Highline later in the summer. So does that count? Okay. Let's start packing and go through some of my other gear here. Now the goal with this is to be kind of as lightweight as I possibly can be without also sacrificing too much. Now, like last year I did a like super focused ultralight trip and I wasn't as comfortable as I wanted to be. So in here, I've got my Zenbivy ultralight 25-degree quilt bed system with the pillow in here, and actually have 2 of the down topper things that go into the pillow for the Zenbivy pillow for some added height. So that's going to add a little bit of bulk and weight, but that is in an 8-liter Sea to Summit compression bag. I probably could get away with just stuffing this into the pack and not have a compression bag, but I don't know. I might play around with it. We're expecting a little bit of weather. I don't know. I'm just going to run with the compression bag for now, and then I'll be sleeping on the Zenbivy ultralight, the like mummy-shaped sleeping pad, because I am taking the Durston X Dome for my shelter. The reason being is this route is going to be on Slick Rock, or at least camping on top of Slick Rock for the nights that we will be out there. And I found that the X Dome is an excellent option for being in that situation where you are using rocks to hold the tent down in case it's windy and such. So that is the plan for that, even though it's like a little bit heavier of an option, but the fully freestanding aspect to it makes it really convenient. And I like this tent. I think Dan did a really good job with it, but there are things that I would change with it. If you saw my video yesterday, you saw me talking about the floor shape of it, and that's the reason I'm taking the tapered sleeping pad, is because it's a bit more narrow at the foot end of the tent than I would like. Okay, let me go back through some of these comments. What are these zip stuff bags? These are bags that I make that are backcountry exposure bags. You can see there's fabric and stuff here. Got my sewing machine. So when I'm not making videos, I'm producing bags. And so The next question is, are they out of Ultra material? So this is Ultra TX70, and then I'm also making them with Ultra Grid. Yeah, that's what I've got right there. Show us the food bag you are taking this trip in your Mesa food bag. Yeah, we're gonna unpack the food here in a minute so you can see everything that's in there. Have you heard of Mountain Hardware's PCT packs? Yes, I have. They haven't like piqued my interest enough to want to mess with those. The Sea to Summit evac compression sacks are great. Those are fantastic to be able to push all the air out. I like those a lot. I recently got the Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2. Oh, nice. Solid tent. Solid option. Have you ever used a Granite Gear Blaze 60? No. I've used a Granite Gear, I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was the Crown. Yeah, I think it was the Crown 50. I wasn't a huge fan. Glad to hear all the good stuff about the X-Dome. It's probably what I'll be upgrading to when I can. I spend so much time with freestanding tents. This one is excellent. There are nuances, things that I would change about it. We'll talk about one of those right now, and that is, it is a single door. There's only one entrance into the tent, which is fine. It's a one-person tent. But I have found that in a lot of cases for me, it's a little awkward to sleep with your head at the narrow end of the tent in getting in and out in that space. And so it feels like it can be difficult to find a good position to place the tent if you are limited in where you can pitch the tent, which has been the case in some instances where I've gone to set it up, and if I don't want my head downhill, then I'm like right into a tree or some kind of weird situation. So yeah, that is that. We should start packing this, but I'm loving all the comments. You guys are awesome. This is so much fun. Which one is stronger? I think you're referring to the fabrics, right? Ultra Grid's going to be stronger than the TX70. Just because it has the like double ripstop Ultra and a tighter weave on it. So that's what I would go with if strength is your thing. Okay, let's start packing some of this stuff into the Scala. Keep asking your questions. You guys, this is fun. I like doing these like impromptu live streams. So this is going in just into the very bottom of the pack with my sleeping bag there at the bottom. Then I'm going to drop the sleeping pad in there. Now, because this is a frameless pack, I have to be a little bit more mindful of how stuff goes in, so it's not like putting a lot of weird pressure onto my back. Let's go through the clothing that I've got. Again, going pretty simple and minimal. Extra pair of underwear. These are the Outdoor Vitals Skyline or Highline thermal bottoms that I'll use for sleeping in, and then an extra pair of socks. These are just a pair of Smartwool socks. What I'll hike in is the Swiftwick socks, the Trail Flight XT socks, and then my mid layer is the soon-to-be released Pursuit Grid Fleece hybrid hoodie from Outdoor Vitals. I've been testing this for a long time, like over a year at this point. This thing is amazing, and I'm really excited that they're finally coming out with it soon. I don't know the full details on that, but soonish. And then this is my Cumulus synthetic Climalite jacket. Because the temperatures are not going to be super cold, it'll be plenty sufficient for what I'm doing. This is pretty similar to like a Enlightened Equipment Torrid jacket or a Outdoor Vitals Vario jacket. It's going to be warmer than the Vario, or a Arc'teryx Atom. This thing is really cool. I've really enjoyed it. Let's see, what other questions are there? First time what? No chair. I'm going without a chair on this trip. I'm going to use the back panel pad of the backpack for keeping myself a little bit more comfortable. But again, the idea is to go pretty minimal. So now I'm just going to drop the jacket in front of the sleeping pad. Ooh, actually, I'm going to put my extra clothes and see if I can't get them a little bit in front of the sleeping bag. And then my socks I'm going to tuck in next to the pad. Then the jacket can go down in there. Okay. Let's go through the cooking gear. I'm going to leave the mid layer right there. Shelter. Yeah. Okay. So, talked about the food bag. I am going to use an alcohol stove for this trip. So I've got a bottle of alcohol. I need to fill this up a little bit. And then my orange cup. You guys always ask about this orange cup. And it's kind of an anomaly because you can't buy this individually, but it pairs so well with the Toaks 550. And I got this from the GSI Pinnacle Soloist pot, like cook set, that probably like 15 years ago, something like that. I bought this. So it's held up for a very long time. But then in this Light AF pot sack is the full cook kit. So the Toaks 550 for the pot. I've got just this little pack towel, a Bic lighter, and then the X-Boil alcohol stove. So the X-Boil stove is, they're from Germany. Pretty cool company. You got the windscreen that goes together like so. And then your really simple burner. This inside of it has these little arms. These attach to the sides of, let's just do this. Let's just connect this so you can see how cool this is. If I'm missing your questions or comments, I'll scroll back up here in a second and look at it. But that goes together like that. So those little arms just connect onto the windscreen, and then it creates a platform for your pot to sit on, and then your stove goes up underneath. I maybe only use an alcohol stove once or twice a year. So not a lot, but I've found that this X-Boil setup is pretty simple to use. It's effective, it's efficient, and it's lightweight, and it's sized so that it fits into the inside of your Toaks 550. So that's pretty cool. And then it just makes for that really minimal, super lightweight option where I am only going to be boiling water maybe 4 times to do my coffee, to do my dinner, and my breakfasts are going to be cold breakfasts. I'll show that here in a little bit. But that's my cook kit. I do also have my titanium long handle spoon. This one's fancy because it has my logo on it. You can actually get these on my website. And then the rehydration pouch for, this is from Big Sky. I love how effective this is in helping your meals rehydrate. Really, really nice to have. And then let's pack all of that in, but let's go back through some of these questions. Let's see. Okay. Do you have a backpack under $200 that is super durable you can recommend? The REI Flash 55. That's where I would start. When did you get your tattoo? Didn't know you were into tattoos. It's a fairly new thing. So without getting into too many like personal matters in my life, I got my first tattoo, which is on my thigh right here, back in November last year. And then I got this one in February this year. This one is pretty, I'll tell you, like, tattoos don't have to have any meaning to them, but this one happens to have some meaning. So on my forearm right here, it says, "Wish you were here." And then there's a mountain range above that, and then just a band that goes around with some trees. The idea is, so one of my favorite bands of all time is the band Incubus, true millennial here. And they have their song, "Wish You Were Here," which is all about like living in the moment, enjoying the moment, and appreciating that. But also when you're out doing amazing things, beautiful things are happening, and you're having cool experiences, that you wish there were important people in your life there to enjoy it with you. So it's a culmination of a lot of ideas. But anyway, there's my tattoo story. Have you checked out the Squawk Grid hoodie? And if so, how does it compare to the one you're using? Okay, so the Squawk hoodie is a lot heavier weight than this Pursuit hoodie is from Outdoor Vitals. I love the Squawk hoodie. I use it camping all the time. I take it on trips where I want just a heavier weight mid-layer. And fun fact, I am actually working on a collaboration piece of apparel with Squawk. They are local to me. I've developed a friendship and a relationship with the owner. We actually went on a trip last year together, and things have just kind of, turned out to, we're actually working on a piece of apparel together that it'll be a Squawk product, but I'm helping with design aspects of that. So no chair, that's a mistake. David, I'm gonna bring the chair in the car and I'll make a decision at the trailhead. Woodall Trails, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Everybody, you guys are awesome. Jamie, oh sweet. Jamie ordered some bags and said he got his bags yesterday. He's like to put them to use. So I appreciate the support, that's awesome. Easy water bottle access on the 55. Yes, that is a huge selling point for the Flash 55. Where am I headed? Yeah, okay, so we're 20 minutes into this. People have come and gone probably. I'm going to Capitol Reef National Park to do the Beehive Traverse. This is a third time, is the charm, and hopefully we're able to be successful this time. And I went back in October last year. Things didn't work out. A friend got injured. We had to bail. It was super hot, really bad water. There was a dead bird in the only water source. The water tasted terrible. It was just not a good situation. So going back with Brigham from Outdoor Vitals, he has never been to Capitol Reef, he tells me. So we're giving him a tour of the water pocket fold. You should put a clock next to that tattoo that points to 11 a.m. I like that. I like that. Or "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. You know what's funny is, like, I've had people say, like, "Are you a big Pink Floyd fan?" And I enjoy Pink Floyd, but it's not the same. Let's see. All right. Okay, let's keep packing. Keep the questions coming. If you are just joining, we are doing a pack and gear loadout into my new Gossamer Gear Scala 38. Let's drop the tent in here now. Got my stakes, which I still use stakes even though I'm going to be setting up on Slick Rock. I put them into the stakeout points at the ends of the tent where you would normally stake out. And then I use that as a wedge essentially against a rock to create tension. So it makes it so that, those hold the tent in place a lot better. So then my mid layer is going to go down in there. And poles are going to go on the outside of the pack. Okay, let's go through just some of these small pieces of gear. My water bottles and water filtration. I've become obsessed with this bottle. This is the Squawk Squawker bottle. Speaking of Squawk, these are essentially the same diameter as a Smart Water bottle or the Essentia bottles. They are heavier weight, but they're solid plastic. You can put hot water into them. They're easier to filter into with a Sawyer, and I like the wide mouth opening. I know there's other bottles that are coming out and available, like Miranda's new bottle, which I'm probably gonna order one just to see what it's all about. But I've got 2 of these, 1 liter each. Then my water filter setup is the Sawyer Squeeze and the Sawyer Collab Canuck Vecto in the X model. Being in the desert, you get pinhole leaks very easy from just setting your bag down into the pokey ground. There's pokies everywhere. So that'll be water filtration, satellite communication, the Zoleo satellite, this thing. We're going on 5 years, my friends. 5 years of use with the Zoleo. I love it. This thing it's stellar. Then just a couple of ditty bags. This is my first aid kit. This is my little ditty bag, and this is my electronics bag, also in a little ditty. I'll show you what the electronics are. Got the Nitecore NU21. This is just a little hygiene kit to keep things a little bit separate, and then just all of my random electronic stuff. Because I'm filming, I carry 2 battery banks. This is the NB Air Nitecore, 5,000 milliamp hour, and the NB 10,000, the generation 3. So 2 battery banks. Look how tiny this thing is. Have you guys seen this yet? It's like iPod shuffle. Then a couple of charging cables, a USB-C to USB-C, and then also to charge more USB-C, but a micro USB because the Zoleo doesn't have USB-C. And yeah, that's what that is, all the electronics. So drop all of that back in there. I think that kind of like rounds out, oh, sorry, I got one more thing. The poop kit. This is in one of my medium size flat zipper pouches. I have hand sanitizer, my Bulgur trowel, and wipes and toilet paper. And that like rounds out the full kit. That's everything. So I think what I'll do, I'm actually gonna put the electronics and the first aid right inside of the pack, and then my food. Oh, I didn't even put my, this is the problem, I'm getting distracted. I didn't even put my cook kit in here. Aha. Now my food can go on top. That's not bad for a 38 liter size pack. They say that this has a weight limit of 25 pounds. We're gonna be pretty dang close to that weight limit. Side compression for the closure, but you could also remove those completely. But I like the way that that comes together. I like the feel of the fabric on this. I'm gonna put my Zoleo in this front pocket for now. And then here in the mesh pocket, if you're asking questions, I'll go back and answer them. So just give me a moment. Poop kit, and then my fuel. And then let's get What are we doing here? You guys are awesome to be patient with me as I learn packing a new pack as well. And the bottle into the side. It's a little tight, but it's not the worst. There we go. That's the full pack. Should we see how much it weighs? Let me get my scale and we'll weigh it. I'm gonna walk across the garage. Now my bottles are not filled with water. Let's take some guesses before I weigh it. Guess how much you think the pack weighs. All right, here we go. What tent? I'm using the Durston X-Dome. I talked about that a little bit earlier. I like those bottles. I used the Canuck and Vesica with the Platypus Quick Draw. Sweet. The Nightcore what? That's the Nightcore NU21 headlamp. I like it better. It's plenty of light versus like going with something with more lumens. Yes, that was the Nightcore NB Air, which was the 5,000 milliamp hour battery bank. Yes, David is correct. On the last trip I did with Brigham, I did no chair and an alcohol stove. There is the ability for me to strap my chair to the top of the pack here. I may do that, but we'll see. I like the side closure straps. Yeah, I've not had many packs that close that way, but okay, let's see here. Thoughts on the alcohol stove. The X-Boil is what I'm using. I like it. I think it's the most enjoyable alcohol stove that I've used so far. All right, here we go. Without water, we are 17.2 pounds, so add 4.5 pounds because a liter is 2.2 pounds. 17 plus 4.5, that is, what, 22 pounds? I might have a little bit of like extra camera gear, so 23 pounds. So we're right in the sweet spot of this working out as a good lightweight option to get started on the trip, which I'm pretty excited about. Now the hip belt on this pack is really minimal. It's a removable belt. It's not meant to be a huge weight distribution. Release the dad bod here. The pack is so small. Are you going to test the Autotech Ultralight Food Locker bag in the future? Maybe. It's not been of interest because I don't ever hike in places that I need to be concerned about bears. So my food bag is sufficient for most of my needs. But if I do find myself going to do, like, I would like to spend some time in the Wind Rivers. Probably not this year, but next year. That would require a bear-proof type of approach. So that's what I'd be looking at. The only thing that deters me with alcohol is the time it takes to boil water. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% on everything that you've just seen, but it'll be likely that I stick with the alcohol for this trip and then don't worry about anything else. So the fit, like, I'm actually, sorry if that's hitting the microphone. The fit of this is nice. You would think, okay, no load lifters, that's going to be a problem, but torso-wise, I think it's a good fit. The hip belt is providing enough of the weight distribution to not have everything on my hips, or sorry, on my shoulders. So I think it's a nice mix of minimal hip belt, helps it be a little more comfortable, and then these shoulder pockets, these are actually really nice. I don't have anything great to show because my phone is on the tripod, but the phone fits in there really good, and it's the ultra stretch material. You got some loops up here so I can hang my Zoleo from there. What do you guys think? I think for a frameless pack, I could carry a chair and add a pound, and it probably wouldn't even notice the big weight difference in adding that. So what do you guys want to see? What other questions do you have? Those wide shoulder straps look comfy. Yeah, they are nice. And they're nice and wide here around the front of the chest. So that helps with the weight distribution. And it's not like creating any real bad pressure points against my back. You do have that sit pad in there, but I'm digging it. This is nice. The hip belt has these super tiny little pockets. I don't know, like what you would actually put in there. Some chapstick, your trash. There's no bottom pocket on this pack. That might be something that would be a nice addition for people that care about bottom pockets, but that's not a huge thing for me. Chad, UGQ, good to see you. Would you ever consider trying the Instinct LP40? I'm not familiar with that pack. I still use the 2-pound chair because it's tall and a high back. Yeah, use what works for you. If that adds the comfort, I'm all for it. So yeah, there's a chance I do need to add a rain jacket in here, which will be probably the Outdoor Vitals Tusher rain jacket because it's really compact, lightweight, as opposed to like the Mammut one that I have. I still have space here in the front, but I'm kind of maxed out in weight. I think if I add too much more weight, then I'm not going to be like super stoked on how it's carrying. Do you guys want to see all the food that's in my food bag? I think that was a question. Because I do have it packed out. Let's do that. What other questions are coming here? Do you fly fish or Tenkara while backpacking? I do. I'll show you. The Tenkara rod that I have is the Tenkara Rodco, the Beartooth. And this thing is freaking cool. I also have a couple of Redington fly rods that I'll use when I want just like that style, but that's my Tenkara rod. In the Uintas, the backyard, hiking mountains is a fantastic place to fly fish. How many days of food does that carry? This is a Friday through Sunday pack of food. So 4.5 liters. I'm gonna open it up and let me grab, if you don't mind, I'm gonna get the larger bag so you can see that in comparison. So this is the XL food bag. So this is a 2 full liters bigger than this one. So 4.5 liters in the white, 6.5 liters in the blue. This I'm able to get laying flat. 8 freeze-dried meal bags from like Trail Goods or Pinnacle or Peak Refuel. And that makes a huge difference in the space. So my food, I don't have everything in here. There's a couple things that I'll be adding that's in the fridge, like some cheese and pepperoni. But I have got some endurance fuel from Tailwind, and then recovery mix from Tailwind. Little peanut butter bites. The classic honey buns. Anybody else like obsessed with honey buns and the amount of calories that this little tiny thing gives you? I've got a big bag of some Triscuits, just for good salts. And then watermelons, Sour Patch watermelons. These are like the best on the trail. Then I'm also trying a few different, or a couple different meals that I've never tried before. The Rec Pack, the packaging on this is like wildly overdone for something to drink out of. They need to change this. But this is 700 calories. I actually have a good friend of mine that we've been friends for like 20 years, something like that. He is doing a bunch of marketing work, working for Rec Pack. So he asked if I wanted to try these and said, yeah, let's give it a whirl. But it's basically just add water, shake, and drink. So I'm going to use this as one of my breakfasts and a nice way to get good calories to start the day. What comments we got going on here? Let me scroll back up. Do you have any running vest style packs? I do. I've got the Big Agnes Sweetwater 43, not the greatest pack, but I also have the Outdoor Vitals Skyline Fast Pack. That thing is super cool. I like that one a lot. Do you have a favorite Etsy backpacking or really small cottage brand piece of gear? Nothing like directly comes to mind. I used to sell my gear on Etsy. Does that count? I can't really think of anything that like hits me right offhand. Okay. Let's see. Any plans to come back to the Sawtooth this year? Not this year. At least not for any backpacking, but I missed the Sawtooth. That place was amazing. You eat like me on trail. Yes. I like, just give me whatever calories are delicious, and I want stuff that's going to taste good, and you better believe Sour Patch watermelons are the way to go. Love the recent video of things to keep kids happy while camping. I appreciate that. Rec Pack is a great lunch on the go. Yeah, I am going to try the chocolate because I think it's just a nice, safe flavor to go with. Little Debbie's is always a win. Absolutely. Okay, while other questions come in, the other new meal that I'm trying is this bowl and kettle, the tikka masala chicken. This has had rave reviews, and so I picked up one of each of their meals, and again, I'm going to go with a safe flavor as opposed to like the crawfish that they have or the grits. I think, or it's like a corn grits something. So we're going to give this a try, and then I've also got the Trail Goods chicken chile verde. This is awesome. Like, I freaking love, I was going to say amazing and awesome at the same time, and that's why I sounded like that. This is delicious. My favorite meal from Trail Goods. These are absolutely worth checking out. I've had all 4 of the meals, several of them at this point. This is my new favorite meal company that is out there. Maybe Bowl and Kettle. I haven't tried this yet. We'll see, but I'm excited about that one. My electrolyte mixes, I've got the Tailwind Rapid Hydration. I love these. And then one of my other breakfasts is the Pack a Gourmet smoothie. So I'm really enjoying going with no-cook breakfasts. That's what this is. Just add cold water to it. That's what this is. Add cold water to it. This is 400 calories. And again, their packaging could be better for what this is, but all of that fit inside of this 4.5 liter size bag. Now, something that I do very frequently with this bag that makes everything fit a little bit nicer is whatever meal I am having for night 1, I leave outside of the bag. So that might be this or the tikka masala, and then it's not taking up space inside of here. So I'll leave this out just inside of the pack, and then it makes it so I can put everything else that I want in there. Maybe that's saying that this is too small, but that's just how I function. So putting it in something a bit larger would be better. Okay, let's look at these questions. How hard is it for someone to start making their own gear who has never sewn before? I mean, you got to find a sewing machine first, but it's not actually that difficult. I would recommend getting on the Ripstop by the Roll website and checking out some of their DIY kits and the instructions that they provide with that. You can put things together pretty simply, but spending some time learning how to use a sewing machine obviously is important, but it's not as hard as you would think it would be. It just also depends what you're making. These bags, they're fairly simple to create. They're not a really heavily involved design. The time of like perfecting it for size as well as just sourcing all the materials to be able to sell them, that's been harder than the actual design of them. But beyond that, it's not too difficult. Calories in, calories out, I say. Eat what you want to eat. I agree. Do you count all your calories on trail for a certain amount? I don't. I just look for as high of calorie options as possible so that when I do eat a snack, I'm getting 70 to 200 calories at a time. And I've been using these Tailwind Nutrition Endurance Fuels, which these are just liquid calories. You just drink these, it's 200 calories in a pack, and it makes your water taste good, and I'm drinking calories as I'm going, which is really nice. Just spotted some Sour Patch Kids lemonade. Oh, yeah, different from what I have here. Triscuits with almond butter on the trail is a great snack. I've never tried that, but I do love Triscuits. I just ordered trail goods last night because of your video and meeting Luke on Ben's podcast. Awesome. They launched like 2 months ago, so worth checking out for sure. Go check out what they've got. I know they're sold out on some of the meals, but the Loco Moco is also delicious. Do you keep your food in your backpack or tent at night? Aren't there black bears in the Uintas? Good question. I do keep my food in my pack, in my tent. And I've been doing that for several years at this point. There's only been, I think, 2 trips in the last 4 years that I've actually hung my food. And that was out of necessity because of rodents being a huge, huge problem in one of the areas that I was at. But yeah, I don't really have, there are black bears in the Uintas, but I mean, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of nights in the Uintas and I've never seen a bear. They are there, but I've never seen one, and I haven't had a problem, so I don't hang my food. Let's see here. Favorite local spring hikes that are out of the snow? If you're talking about Utah, the desert, head down south into the Capitol Reef, Escalante area. There are hundreds of miles of trails that you can hike. Lots of things to do. Let's see. Appreciate it, Woodall Trails. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys all hanging out. I think at this point, like, we've packed the pack, we've gone through the food, we've talked about a few different things. Are there any last minute questions that you guys have about my products, about the pack, about the trip? We'll take 5 minutes here, run through any of those, and then we'll call it an afternoon. I just wasn't planning to do a live stream and thought, yeah, I need to pack my pack. Let's go through the gear and share it with you guys. I appreciate you hanging out. It really does mean a lot. I've been so incredibly busy with so much the last several weeks. Here in my garage, this just happened last week. So I have a full sewing station here now, as well as a full cutting table for all of the product. And that was a big deal. I also have like a brand new industrial sewing machine showing up. So things are ramping up a lot, and it's a lot due to you guys like being so supportive of launching my website, even buying the bags from Garage Grown, because they're available on Garage Grown as well. But if you haven't checked out my website, do go check it out. It's BACKCOUNTRYEXPOSURE.com. I'm selling and making these food bags. This is the Mesa XL, or sorry, this is the Mesa XL. I actually had a friend stop by yesterday that he bought 2 more of these because his Catabatic quilt fits perfectly into this. And so he put his quilt in there, and then his clothing, and then his food. So he has 3 of them and just into his backpack, which I thought was really cool. I'll grab a couple other bags to show you since we're talking about that. Just some fun fabrics and colors. This is, I've just have this folded flat, but one of the Mesa packing cubes, and then flat envelope style bags for ditties and stuff. And then this is the bigger ditty bag. This fabric's super cool. This is, as well as this plum, is X-Pack RX30. So it's a 300 denier fabric that is really soft, but the colors are fantastic. The bigger ditty has a gusset on the bottom, so it'll stand up on its own, which is nice. And watertight zipper. They're just a lot of fun. So those are all available on my website, and yeah, go check it out. I'd really appreciate that. Share it with your friends as well. Let's see. How do you pack your derm? I'm not sure what derm means. Sorry. Are you going to do a review on your pack? Yes. So I have not used this on the trail yet, but once I get time with it, we'll do a video, talk about it, and go through all the nitty-gritty details. So it's almost been an hour. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. You're awesome. Like, truly appreciate your support of the channel, of the soft goods, and just being awesome people. Like, I appreciate that. I feel like I have friends that show up every time I post a video, that reach out, that spend time with me, and just make life awesome for me and my family. Like, I genuinely appreciate it. It means a lot. So thank you. With that, we're gonna call it quits, and thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna get to sewing and get some orders out the door. So enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing, and we'll catch you next time. See you guys.